There has been something that has driven me to the brink of insanity. I've thought about it for every waking moment of my life since this game came out 5 years ago in 2002. It has tortured me to no end, and my nights have been sleepless, restless, haunted by the very waking image of this one small detail. What is it, you might ask? This stupid fish. Look at it. What is that? What is that? No, some of you may argue, oh, that's just a Magikarp. No, I say. Well, yes, but no. It's not just a Magikarp, okay? It's not just a Magikarp. It's so much more than that. You see, this is a Magikarp. Now put up there. Put up the picture. Put up there again. Zoom in. Enhance. This is a Magikarp. Look at this. As a member of the Survey Corps. Survey Corps? Survey Corps. I guess I could be a corpse. I've died so many times thinking about this fish. It's driven me to insanity and the brink of tortured unrest. What am I talking about? I don't know. Anyway, this fish has driven me insane. We're gonna look at this fish. We're gonna talk about it. Now, why exactly is this fish so important? Well, I'll tell you. There are 42 enterable houses in this entire game, and this dang fish only appears in 2 of them. Does that mean that this fish is part of some wild and wacky conspiracy? Is it a new Pokemon? Is it a crazy hidden secret? Well, not exactly. You see, by evaluating the entire rest of the home's interior decor, we can deduce a few key things. 1, this house belongs to someone with a lot of feet. And 2, they have an awful lot of things. From the little knickknacks that line the shelves of a fancy glass cabinet, to the large amounts of stored food, to various tools and pieces of home or farm equipment, all things that should be very expensive to acquire or produce in large quantities. So what can we tell about this family? That's right, they're stinkin' rich, drowning in the big ones. Or at the very least, they have more disposable income available to them than the rest of the people in Jubilife Town. Which could explain why this fish is so much more artistically styled, why it appears to be made out of a more expensive material, crafted by a more skilled hand. It's not a conspiracy, it's just rich people. But whatever. I don't care about any of that. So I'm gonna design this new regional variant of Magikarp that is sure to appear in the upcoming sequel to Pokemon Legends Arceus. Pokemon Legends ZA! Z-A minus. Z minus A? What the hell? Now step into my office. To get things started, I drew an exact likeness of the fish figure on the hearth and planned to use that as a base that I could simply add colors onto in order to stay true to the original shape of the figure itself. Then, my idea for coloring it in was that since the Pokemon XY region Kalos was based on France, if I'm going to claim that this is a new fish Pokemon for a Legends game based on an earlier period within the same region, I'd need to look at what kinds of fish were popular in France. And boy, did I go down a rabbit hole, let me tell you. There are a lot of places in the world that have a national animal that is symbolic to their country in some way, whether that be historically, or figuratively, or whatever. A few places also have a national fish. France, however, is not one of those places. They do still have popular fish, though, and among their most popular fish were these 2, the rudd and the tench. So I decided that they would be good candidates for coloring in my mystery fish base. All the while, a nagging feeling at the back of my mind kept screaming out at me from the shadows. More on that later. For now, though, while you watch the time-lapse on these 2 fish designs, let me tell you a bit about what this device actually is and its purpose. So from what I could find, the fireplace itself is called an irori. It's a small, square-shaped hearth typically made of wood, concrete, brick, or even metal, sunken into the floor and filled with wood ash. The irori historically served as the main source of lighting and heating in early Japanese homes and provided a nice communal place for the family to gather and cook. The part that the fish figure is connected to is called a jisekage. It was essentially an adjustable pothook that held a pot or kettle suspended above the fire. And the fish itself is called a yokagi. From what I can tell, it acts as a sort of weight that uses friction to help lock it in place, thus setting the suspension height. There would be a rope or rod that passed through a hole in the tail of the fish, and by letting more or less of the rod through, you could adjust the height at which your pot was hanging above the irori. The yokagi could be made into other shapes as well, but was most often shaped as a fish, specifically a carp, to remind of the protective nature of water in a time when open fires, like those of the hearth, could and often did destroy homes. It also held the more symbolic meanings of bravery, fulfillment, and perseverance that stem from Chinese legends that say dragons are carp that have been transformed after successfully climbing to the top of turbulent waterfalls. Which then explains why, out of all of the fish Pokemon in existence, Magikarp was chosen for the design of this yokagi, as Magikarp and Gyarados are two Pokemon directly based on those legends. And that's it! 2 fish Pokemon designs based on the shape of the unique yokagi that appears in Pokemon Legends Arceus, with colors that match those of fish that can be natively found in or near French waters. That's the whole concept. That's where the video should end. But there's more. You see, I didn't just stop there. Oh no. Back when I was looking into what kinds of fish were popular in France, I actually found a gem of information that stuck itself into the back of my mind and kept eating away at me, forcing me to let it out. Surprisingly enough, there's another kind of fish that swims in French waters that also is notorious for both swimming upriver against the current and metamorphosis. It's one you've almost definitely heard of before, and one you would have likely never expected. The succulent red meat fish, salmon. And so this is where our story continues. As soon as I made the connection, I knew I had to draw it, and I had the perfect idea for just how to execute it. You see, I kept thinking to myself, well, Hisui and early Jubilife were supposed to be areas that had recently become more populated by travelers, people coming from far-off regions to settle down in a new territory. So how far-fetched would it be for someone to have come here from a region where the dominant fish Pokemon is not Magikarp? Perhaps this person was a craftsman, an artist. And perhaps, when asked to create a yokagi in the shape of the local fish, they might get some details wrong, accidentally incorporating a few of the traits from their own native fish into their work, as it was what came most familiarly to them, namely, a pair of eyes that are closed in completely the wrong style, and a very expressive, upward-curved, smiling mouth. Now stick with me here. I could go on a long tangent about how Magikarp's eyes do not close in this way, about how they have never closed in this way. In fact, I recorded segments of Magikarp blinking and looked up various images to show how its eyes are actually supposed to look when it does so. But I'll spare you all the trouble and get straight to the point. The closed eyes and smiley mouth gave me an idea. I could use the classical drama masks as a point of inspiration for this design. Since it would have 2 forms, perhaps the first one could be a happier, calmer form based on the comedy mask, and the second form could be an angrier, more powerful version based loosely on tragedy. Then, taking it even a step further from there, I decided to incorporate one of my favorite types of performance arts, which is often commonly seen in association with the French: mimes, and by extension for the angry form, clowns or jesters, to play off of the fear of clowns that affects about 1 in 10 people. You know, statistically speaking, there's gonna be at least one of you watching this video. You should let me know how you feel down in the comments. Anyway, that's it. This video is long enough as it is, and I really don't want to spend a ton of time writing any more script. I just want to show you the sick fish that I drew. So let's go to that part now. Ah, there he is. A salmon Pokemon that transforms in order to brave strong rapids and make its way inland during the spawning season. His name is Salmonsieur, and I like him a lot. I feel like he'd be kind of Basculegion-esque. You could probably ride on his back. At least, while it's in its big form. And when it's in its little form, he's just a happy little guy. He probably just mimes around on the riverbed and uses his psychic powers to make weird things happen. He's a little guy. But yeah, that's all I got for now. And look, I know the Yokugi in Legends Arceus is probably just a fun artistic detail put there by the dev team, but imagine how sick it would be if in the new Legends game, or in whatever game down the road, they actually added in a salmon Pokemon. I mean, let's face it, I made the dolphin video before Scarlet and Violet came out, and there actually was a dolphin Pokemon in that game. I'm still tickled about that, by the way. But yeah, that's it. Thanks for watching. Remember to drink plenty of water because you know what they say. There's no sensation like hydration. Stay moist, stay meaty, and I'll see you next time.